Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Trader Minute. It's great to have you aboard. My name is Carl, and thanks for tuning in this morning. There, let's get that echo out of the way. Thanks for being here, everybody. That should do it. All right. Well, the futures are down this morning, down about 7 right now, and it's because of Europe. Yeah, we can always blame somebody, right? They revised the European Commission revised the figures that showed a gloomier growth forecast. Okay, so for next year, they see growth as 1.1% versus 1.2%. That's for 2014. They also see unemployment rising to 12.2% versus 12.1%. I don't know how they calculate their unemployment over there, but theirs is showing a little bit higher than here in the United States. Okay, today as far so that's the news that's driving the market a little bit lower this morning. It's set the gap, one of the bigger gaps lower we've seen, which isn't tremendous. It's about a 0.5% down is where the market's expected to go early on like that. And the futures we've about dropped just about another point since we've started talking here. Okay, so the market's going to be a little bit weaker today. Oil's down about 62 cents. Gold and silver, they're off their lows. They were Uh, Gold was down a little bit earlier this morning, but pretty right now they're basically flat. Gold's down slightly, silver's up a fraction. So they're basically flat right now as far as gold and silver. One thing I like to listen to Art Cashin, and if you don't know who Art Cashin is, you don't watch CNBC or pay attention to their website. And I don't watch a lot of CNBC, but Art Cashin, he's a floor trader. He's been on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange now for over 40 years. It's a long time. The guy's been there, done that. I like to listen to his thoughts. And yesterday I listened to him. You'll find him on the front page in the upper right hand corner of CNBC later in the afternoons. You'll find a little video of him. They interview him about every day. And he had some interesting thoughts yesterday. He said, so far this year, the markets are up 25%. And these years, usually when this happens, when the markets are up that much, they tend to rally the last 2 months of the year. Okay, but he also threw another tidbit out there. He says right now optimism in the market. It says if you're reading the articles, all the articles and what the big news stations are saying out there, all the optimism hasn't been this high since 2007. Okay, remember what happened in 2007? That's when the market started to roll over. When optimism is high, then you start to question things a little bit in the stock market. So the market's at an interesting point. Is it going to go up the next couple of months? Have a bit of a Santa Claus rally? Are we going to see a little bit of a pullback? It is due for a pullback. I mean, most indications looking at the market are saying it's a little bit overextended in this range and due for a little bit of a pullback. Right now, 3 to 5%. I personally, with everything that's being done right now to prop the market up, I don't expect it to pull back too much if it does, but I'd sure like it to. It needs to. That's what's good for the market to have these pullbacks. Keeps it healthy. All right. Um, Not a lot of earnings. There's been a few earnings. Most of the big S&Ps, the big important ones. Earnings season is almost behind us right now. There was some earnings out there, a miss or a hit here or there. And I'll have to check into Xerox. I didn't see that, John. I'll have to go look at that. Okay. Some of the downgrades that I saw Kellogg's. They had a decent earning. It wasn't very good. I mean, as far as earnings, it was about what was expected. They must have said something else during an analyst meeting or something like that because they reversed big time yesterday. I remember looking at the charts on them with everybody, and it showed this huge reversal candle. Well, they've been downgraded by a couple of firms out there now. Deutsche Bank, one of them. All right, and then St. Jude's. St. Jude's. They got a downgrade this morning to Market Perform by Bernstein. Now that's the one that we've been watching for a vibe bull entry. It looks pretty strong. It's been hanging in there, pushing higher and higher. Now, who would downgrade a children's hospital? That shameful. Uh, it needs to keep going. But we'll see what that does to the stock. All right, as far as St. Jude goes this morning. BlackBerry, they were in the news yesterday because the CEO was fired, and I guess it was kind of quite the boardroom meeting they had when that all happened, and they were down big time yesterday. Well, there were all kinds of upgrades today on BlackBerry. I mean, it wasn't huge. Upgrades mainly to hold or neutral. Those were the upgrades, to hold or neutral. But maybe they're going to find a little bit of a bottom here. I noticed pre-market they're down another dollar or so. These upgrades, I don't know if they're going to do a lot for the stock. They might just stabilize the stock. Okay. Well, let's run over through our positions right now. So here is TLT. Looks like it's going to trade a little bit lower this morning. It's going to be down about, looks like around 50 cents is where this thing's about set to open right now. TLT closed about 106.29, set to open about 105.83 in that range. XLE set to open down about 40 cents, 45 cents. Here's where it's set to open, right down in this range from the close last night. So, we'll take what we're going to get on that. Looks like silver right now is set to open up. SLV set to open up anywhere between 4 to 5 cents. This is where SLV is going to be moving to. ABX this morning looks like it's going to open down about a dime. All right. So that's just a quick run through of the positions before the market opens. And then yesterday we talked about the top three, and they were a couple candlesticks trades. There was not a lot of setups out there as far as the trend rider and the vibe. But St. Jude's, they're not really trading pre-market right now. Not much trading there going on. And then we also talked about Visa. Now, St. Jude's was the one vibe. Now, Visa looks like it's going to have some follow-through this morning. Visa was showing that nice bearish engulfing pattern. It was on a little bit lighter volumes, but if you notice the volumes that last 20 minutes of the day, the volumes crept up to where they hit the average, and some of them just beyond the average. So there was a lot of action, a lot of heavy trading right at the last part of the day. So with Visa, they're set to gap down about 75 cents, something like that this morning. And again, this was on the bearish engulfing pattern. And then right at the last part of the day, Qualcomm, I mentioned this into the close last night. Same thing, it had a bearish engulfing pattern. And the volumes picked up towards the end. This had a little bit more volume as far as when it went with Visa. Okay, it looks like the markets have just opened. Now, last night Visa closed just under 69, probably 69.59. Now it's trading about 70 cents lower this morning. Well, it's got some pretty wild action going on it right now. Okay, so let's run over here to stock charts and take a look at some of the positions and how they're set, how they're opening right now. So with that, XLE down 37 cents, and yeah, the big thing that was salvaging this yesterday, and we talked about it several times, was that giant candle and a $2 run on ExxonMobil yesterday. Because that's the largest component, 15%. A lot of the other ones, I saw Chesapeake was up yesterday. There was some of the other ones up, but the largest component was up very strong. That's going to help prop XLE up. Today's showing a little bit of weakness. So let's just let this thing go down on us, please. Get this over with. Get it down, yeah. TLT, down about 52 cents right now. It's right around that 106 mark. And that's the level that we'd like this to hold. We'll watch this throughout the day and see what kind of action we get out of this as the day goes on. It's still really early. And then SLV, 3 cents. It's up 3 cents. Nothing really going on yet. This is a kind of a slower boat usually in the mornings to get this thing off and running. And then ABX, down 17 cents. We kind of expect this to be kind of sluggish for a while with the new shares in there. If we can get a spike out of gold, we might. It's still going to be a little bit sluggish, but we're going to need a little bit of help from gold on this one to get a spike, and that could be happening Thursday. We also got the jobs number out on Friday. There's some triggers that could spark a little bit of a rally for these type of stocks. All right, so let's look at the top three now that they're open from yesterday. Qualcomm, we're seeing some follow through, and when you see a bearish engulfing like that, which actually came up a little bit into the close, but a little bit bearish engulfing, that type of action, and then you see the futures down the next day, odds are there's going to be follow through. So when I saw the futures down, I thought that these might be down based on that. And then also Visa, same thing, a little bit of follow through. For Visa to break 195 would be pretty bearish for this thing, likely to run down into the 190 range from there. We'll keep our eyes on that throughout the day today. Okay, and then St. Jude's. Now they got a little bit of a downgrade. It wasn't from one of the larger firms. They're down a dollar. As far as let's look into this through the vibe. Technically, there's nothing going on here. It's due for a little bit of a pullback. Unless it starts breaking about the 57 level, I wouldn't get too bearish on it, just because of a downgrade. All right, now this morning we've got some setups going on out there that they're going to be watching. Now we're looking for an entrance or so today, and one of them is going to be Qihoo. And Qihoo, we're looking here for a push up through the $90 level. It had a nice bull vibe entrance. It gapped a little bit yesterday, and this morning slightly down on that. Now what we'd love to see right here for the entrance is, right now it's gapped down and it's run down a little bit, have this reverse and push up through the $90 area. The volumes have been pretty decent on the buy-in side of things, so be watching for that throughout the morning and or into the early afternoon. Okay, another one we're watching, one of my favorite places to go is Costco. Isn't it just kind of fun going there? I don't know. Costco. So they broke up out of, let's zoom in on this. Uh-oh. My zoom, it's not working at the moment, but I will. Let's go here to the vibe. I had a nice bull vibe entry a couple days ago, but right now we're right up there at that 10. I've got the wrong one going here. There we go. At the 120 mark. Okay, 119's been resistance for it. It's pushing up into the 120s. A run lower today and a close back above the 120 mark. You can see the volumes have been pretty darn high, and the selling days really low. The one selling day we had about 4 days ago, light volume, and the buying's been heavy ever since. It's still, this thing looks like it could go up into the upper 120s on a breakout here. This thing can really fly. You look at this from 116 to 120, not very long at all. When this thing moves, it can go. And it's been, you can see the higher highs and higher lows coming in here. A little bit of consolidation around the 119. It's due for a push higher. So we're watching this one throughout the day as well. For the upside, as far as the downside, some trades we're looking at. Yeah, that's right, John. You can have lunch, and it's free, right? Free lunch at Costco with the samples. And Bank of America, this has been acting really, really bearish. It dropped through the the 7-day moving average about 2 weeks ago, and it has yet to get back above it. It keeps trying and trying and trying, and keeps dropping lower and lower. We've got a little bit of a descending triangle pattern going on here, which is a bearish continuation pattern. A break here could push this thing quite a bit lower. Well, let me bring in the trend rider. Bands are contracting a little bit right now, which means maybe a little bit more consolidation ahead. But on push lower right here, could drop down into the 1350 area. Next decent level. It's held at 1375 here a little bit, but you get a good break here, and I think this is going to drop. That's another one on our watch list today. And then Intel. And Intel has been trending up a little bit right in this range. See this morning already, unless that's a wild candle there, it's had already got dropped all the way to the 23.75 mark. A break right here down through the 24 mark could push this down about 23, maybe the lower band is where to be looking on this. See the band's contracting, okay, suggesting another positive sign for this as a break on a break lower. We'd be looking for something, playing something like this from back September here on Intel. And then Ford, if you look at GM had some decent earnings. It's gapped up a little bit. It's held the upper ranges. And then you look back at Ford, it's been underperforming. It's been going the other direction. As far as what we're looking at here, be looking for some consolidation up here around the 17, push back below the 17 mark, would drop this thing down to the 16.50 to $16 area, which would be a nice little run down here on Ford. All right, so those are some of the positions we've been watching. Let's run through some of the others. U.S. Steel, this whole group, the steel, they might have hit a bottom. A lot of the steels have been beat up. They went flat for a long time. They've started to go up. Now they're getting upgrades. Like yesterday, Goldman Sachs upgraded like the whole group. These could just keep going. A little bit of a pullback, 29 cents today after yesterday's rally. Not a big deal. I'd love to see a few of these little days right here. Let this maybe come back to the 26 mark. Let the 7 catch up with it and look for another push up off of it. And it's probably set to run a lot higher. Here's another steel. Down about 2.5%. Now this got a long ways away from the 7 with a bearish falling star pattern, similar to the Gravestone Doji, all along that same area there, and dropping back down. Now it got so far above the. Whenever you see a candle like that get way above the 7 and way outside of the Bollinger Bands, it's due for some consolidation. All right, the other one that we were looking at was Walgreens. This was last Friday. It's right there retesting that $60 level again. Remember, if you enter in a bull vibe, if the stop is on the 7. If it closes below the 7, then you get out. If it's holding the 7, you stay in there. And right now, 60, it's hit the level yesterday. It's hitting it again today. That's what we wanted to hold. I mean, it's early on. We'd wanted to hold 60 for a push higher right there. And then Comcast. Now this one's breaking the 7. If it ends right here, then you'd exit if you're happen to be in a trade hunt here. But if it can close back up above the 48, back up above the 7 right there, that's what you'd be looking for on Comcast. And these had some pretty good looking bull vibe entries just last Friday. And the weakness in the markets causing a little bit of reaction here with these guys. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. Again, for the long side, we're looking at Keehoo and Costco. For the short side, we're looking at Bank of America, Intel, and Ford. And if we make any changes, we add some new positions, we're going to let you know. We're going to keep an eye on the positions all throughout the day. I'll be on chat with you all day. Jeff will be on and off chat throughout the day as well. Have a great day. If you have any questions, just chat them on in or send me an email, and we'll get right back to you. Thanks. We'll talk to you in a while. Bye-bye.